In my heart there is a place, and a very fond one, for a bit of kitsch in the kitchen. I'm not interested in pleasing food snobs or in eating just one sort of food. I'm after indulgence, and sometimes only calorie-infused trash will do. You want trashy? Boy, can I give you trashy. I mean, where would you go to? But the king. I mean, no one did it better than him. And this is his masterpiece. Elvis Presley's fried peanut butter and banana sandwich, which is a complete joy and offers some explanation as to why he got to the size he did. Put the toast in, nice fat wedges of white plastic bread, please. So, the deal is this. Mash a banana. Good slathering of smooth peanut butter. Don't get the one that says extra smooth, because then it'll just get too runny and drip out. Banana on top. And just put the sandwich straight into the foamy butter. 2 minutes aside. Just want it nice and golden. First time I came across this was in entirely the appropriate place, which is in Graceland when I ate it in the cafe adjoining the great Elvis Palace. And then I bought a book on the way out called Are You Hungry Tonight? Elvis's favourite recipes, of course. So I've been able to recreate this at home. Now, I think this really demands to be cut on the diagonal. Now, in the book, this is placed on a doily and speared with some very good cocktail sticks, and I'm not going that far, so frankly, all I recommend is you just take the weight off your slingbacks, relax and eat it. Right, now this handsome piece of gammon has been cooking for 2 hours in a large bottle of cola, just with an onion thrown in for added flavour. This is the best way of cooking ham. Although when I came across this recipe, it's sort of a culinary quirk from the deep South America, I sort of thought it had novelty value and I wanted to try it. Once I cooked it, I did see that it was the best way of cooking and eating ham you can imagine. I mean, it does make sense, because if you think about it, there is something about that spiky, sweet, spicy drink that does infuse the ham with what feels like spirit of barbecue. Children like it too, because, you know, for them the idea of eating anything cooked in cola is great. As for the liquid, the trad recipe is ham and Coca-Cola, but use any cola you want. Not diet though, absolutely not diet, it's full fat or nothing. And do not throw away this cooking liquid because it is so wonderful. The saltiness of the ham has gone into the sweetness of the Coca-Cola and it makes a great basis for a thick bean soup. All I want to do is take off the rind and put it in a very hot oven, just preheated, to make it crackle up and just sticky with sweet glaze. Once you've cooked ham and cola, I promise you, you won't cook it another way. You won't. Score the skin with a knife, just crisscross it. And then, this is a rather retro moment, that's what my mother always did, stud these little diamonds with cloves. You know, this is really just an intensification of that aromatic, spicy quality. I mean, you can see here the cola's kind of just infused all that surface with a sort of brown barbecue glow. The taste is wonderful. Right, so maybe one more. Lovely. And now the glaze. First, black treacle, which has the kind of bitter sweetness of burnt toffee. I don't know, and it sort of brings an almost sort of licorice intensity. I've lined the baking tin with foil for no other reason than that all this sweet stuff burns incredibly easily, and it just makes cleaning it much easier later. Bit of degunging needed. And now, because I want heat as well as sweetness, some English mustard. Very important here, look at that. Ugh. And then for crunch, and again, toffee-like sweetness. You know, you can trashy, don't worry about the sugar content, okay? Some Demerara sugar, you can see now why the foil is absolutely imperative. And now 10 minutes in a hot, hot oven for glazing and burnishing and to bring utter gorgeousness. If you're not going to eat this ham just carved thickly and wedged between slices of white bread, you've got to have it with this sweet corn pudding. And by pudding, I mean really like a sweet corn souffle, only without aerating the egg whites. It's incredibly easy to make. 5 eggs, little light whisking. Okay, so there's the eggs, and then, this is a very gratifying part, can of cream-style sweet corn. Very satisfying cooking with cans. For me, particularly wonderful, since when I was 12, cream-style sweet corn was my idea of gastronomic heaven. Lost none of its charm. There. Large can of just ordinary non-cream style sweet corn, strained. Hang on, just give it a bit of a stir. Bit of flour, I mean it's about 4 ordinary spoonfuls. Not much, enough to bind it all, but not to make it taste floury. Baking powder, salt, don't need too much because canned stuff tends to be fairly salty, cream, and then same quantity of milk. I've got some stashed under here somewhere. Just a final stir. So I've buttered this and it just goes into a moderate oven for about, I don't know, 45 minutes an hour. It's difficult to say because ovens vary such a lot. I mean, that's all there is to it. Ready for ham and eggs, southern style.
The trashy cook should not be stowed aside for too long, I feel, without a drink in hand. And preferably this one, watermelon daiquiri. If you keep the watermelon in the deep freeze, it saves you having to bother with ice. As much white rum as you want. Juice of a lime. And a spoonful of icing sugar. Let's be honest, there are a few things in life that can't be improved by a little deep frying. Chicken, I think, is the ultimate deep fried food. Absolutely incredible. And this chicken, Southern style, is just real last meal on earth fantasy time. The only thing is, for it to reach perfection, which is very important, especially with trashy food, it really has to be balanced. In other words, you need to have a tender within and crisp skin on the outside. So what I do is I poach the chicken pieces in milk first, and this makes them so succulent. Anyways, let's pulp out milk and salt. Sorry if I'm disgusting, I'm just going to dry it with a bit of kitchen towel. All these chicken portions here have bones, it's thigh and drumstick. It doesn't absolutely matter, but I just think it tastes best by the bone. Another reason why this fried chicken is so crunchy on the outside is that I kind of double dunk it in flour. So, in other words, I dip in flour, in the eggs, and then flour again. Right, and now I find it easier to flour things in plastic bags rather than plates. Not an elegant approach, but it works. Some cayenne pepper just for colour and also a bit of heat, a bit of spice. It's kind of like a mild form of conveyor belt cookery. So in the flour, in the egg, and in the flour again. I don't think there's any bad way of eating fried chicken, or indeed any fried food, but I have to say that I love this cold, and although cold fried food might sound disgusting to some people, I think cold fried chicken is just the most fabulous picnic food. So the chicken needs to stand there a bit. If it stands there and dries out, it will make the skin yet crisper, and I can get on with melting the fat. Nice bit of vegetable fat. This again helps make the skin really golden and crisp, better than oil, and so much more beautiful. I mean, look at this. Who needs art? Now, I know this looks like there's a lot of fat, and indeed there is a lot of fat, but you've got to remember, and this is not just an excuse, that when food is deep fried, it absorbs much less fat than when it's shallow fried. So in fact, this is just healthy eating. Fried chicken like this absolutely calls out for a basket for serving purposes. I mean, just look. I mean, if you can resist this, you do not deserve to eat. I've already told you about my Elvis Presley book, you know, Are You Hungry Tonight? But I have a couple of other choice kitsch titles. Can You Take the Heat? And this is the cookbook of the World Wrestling Federation. Two of my favourite recipes, tasty Trish kebabs. Want to try them? And this, The Rock's favourite chocolate chip cookies. That's The Rock. And my favourite bit of this is this line, makes 4 to 5 dozen cookies. But this, an old favourite, Liberace Cooks. I thought this was him cooking in his kitchen until I read inside and saw that he was in fact cooking on his dining loggia. He has 7 dining rooms, you understand. This is him in his TV watching dining room. And this is Liberace with the author, part of the shirt. But actually, you know, for all that campery, you know, this is a really, really good recipe book. I mean, sadly, it's out of print, so I think it's about time for a reissue. This chocolate lime cheesecake is the epitome of my kind of trashy food, by which I mean that although many of the ingredients come out of packets and essential, the finished result is really seriously good, no joke. And it's also very, very important that inspiration for this comes from a kind of industrially produced, not naturally occurring foodstuff. This sweet chocolate limes, which I adored as a child. I think it's probably fairly important here that the cheesecake itself is a kind of déclassé, or at least certainly devalued. But this is wonderful. The base, Maryland cookies, completely chocolatey ones. I want a rich, dark chocolate base to counter the rather sharp, tender custard topping. "75 grams of butter." So blitz again. I'm going to leave the base mixture here when I lime the tin because I want to bake this cheesecake in a water bath, and that's what will make it so light. And please don't get sort of put off by that. All I mean is you put the tin in this, water in it, and it's very, very simple. You have to line with foil to protect it. So this not only stops water getting in, but it makes you feel very, very competent as well. It makes up for a lifetime of not watching Blue Peter. Just tip the chocolatey, buttery crumbs and press in. And then just should sit in the fridge to sort of chill while you get on with the cheesecake topping. So, anyway, so the base will just firm up in the fridge a bit, and the topping is incredibly easy. Can't be bothered to wash up, so I'm just going to put another bowl on. The processor is a fabulous machine for making cheesecake, because although you want everything really blended till it's smooth, what you don't want is to incorporate air. If you get air beaten into cheesecake, what happens is it rises while baking, and then as it falls afterwards, it cracks. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but... You need 750 grams of cream cheese, and they come in 200 gram packets, so it's more or less 4. 200 grams of caster sugar. 4 eggs and 2 egg yolks. There are a lot of eggs, but that's because I want this really sour, and that means a lot of lime juice, which means a lot of liquid, so you need more eggs to help it set. So trust me. Limes can be very resistant to giving up their juice, so if you find that's the case, the best way of dealing with it is just put the limes in the microwave on about medium for 30 seconds. It may help. There really is quite a bit of juice here, and this is what makes this so wonderfully creamy bitterserbic. Lovely, got a real hit to it. So I'm just going to get the base out of the fridge, put this topping on the base, in the tin, in the oven. I mean, not hard. Now, do not panic. The cheesecake mix really is meant to be this liquid. Perfect. It's this kind of liquid quality which makes it so kind of voluptuously tender-bellied when baked. Just pour in some water from a recently boiled kettle, about halfway up. I wouldn't overdo it because you don't want to splash water inside the actual tin holding the cheesecake. Now just take it over to the oven very delicately because I don't want to spill anything. That's very good. Very good.
I'm not quite sure. Am I wearing enough makeup?
No, I'll get rid of it. What do you think? Gina.
Oh, I guess.
We've all heard of deep-fried Mars bars, but I've discovered something so much better.
So I am going to introduce you to something quite spectacular. Little deep-fried bounty.
Well, I love the notion though that a kind of bounty bar needs batter.
Yes, it does. Everything needs batter.
Yeah.
It's good, isn't it?
But that's just a regular batter.
Well,
No adornments.
well, it's got fizzy water dust, but I think that makes it lighter than self-raising flour. But I feel it's a battle against heaviness. Can I tempt anyone to one of these?
Sort of ride
I don't really like bounties.
I know, but I feel
So
this
let
will
me.
make a difference. And I've had
I think it might make a difference. Actually, I think I need a bit of pineapple to go with it.
yeah, that's absolutely that's what
It's essential. No, it's really good.
it is, isn't it?
Really good.
Very, very delicate art, deep frying. But the best bit is you get to rattle the chip basket.
I rather like that idea, don't you? I think we've got a whole new thing here going. A whole new way and a whole new approach to food.
Go on.
Oh my god.
It is good, isn't it?
What's it like?
Well, kind of like Christmas and Easter and your birthday already rolled into one.